important topic given the resources that we're devoting to Afghanistan. I was there about a month or so ago and had the opportunity to meet not just with some of our brave soldiers and Marines, but also with some of the federal government agencies that are on site and some of the contractors. I know this subcommittee under your leadership has done some of the most diligent and searching oversight of Afghan reconstruction and development over the last several years. And again, it's critical work, and I'm pleased to now join you as your ranking member. The hearing is especially timely as it comes on the heels of a major announcement last week concerning the U.S. mission in Afghanistan. The President announced, as you all know, his intention to withdraw the full complement of the 30,000 so-called surge troops by September 2012, with the first 10,000 coming out by the end of this year. I've noted my concerns about the lack of clarity regarding some of the strategic objectives in Afghanistan. But what is clear is that we are now in a critical planning window with respect to our military and our civilian mission in Afghanistan. Today we have over 154,000 private contractors working for the Defense Department, State Department, AID in Afghanistan, 154,000 contractors. The issue of effective and efficient use of those contractors assumes a new urgency as we near both the surge drawdown that I've talked about and also the planned 2014 transition to Afghan-led security. It's also, of course, a timely discussion given our fiscal problems and the fiscal crisis at our doorstep. Over the past 9.5 years, our military servicemen and women have done everything they've been asked to do and more in Afghanistan. They've performed remarkably well, and again, with bravery and extraordinary skill under some very tough conditions. Given our reconstruction efforts in Afghanistan, which are incredibly important to the sustainability of this effort, we need to be sure that what we're doing is right, be sure that we're consolidating some of the hard-earned gains that we have achieved. The counterinsurgency strategy that was outlined by President Obama has been to clear, hold, and build, and ultimately transfer. And as we reach the transfer stage in many areas of the country, the objective, I think, has to be to leave behind a more functioning society and economy, a more resilient local governing structure, and a stable, more constitutional and stable government in Afghanistan, one that's capable of withstanding the radical Taliban and other elements. And so one of my questions, Madam Chair, in this hearing today is going to be talking about that and the sustainability of some of the efforts. We've invested heavily as Americans to achieve this goal of building up Afghan institutions and fostering economic development and job creation. Since 2002, Congress has appropriated over $60 billion for relief and reconstruction in Afghanistan, the great majority of which has been channeled through private contractors. Now we know from experience in Bosnia in the 1990s and more recently in Iraq that a reduction in troop levels does not mean a drop in contractor activity. In fact, sometimes it's meant an increase. In fact, there's been an increased reliance on contractors to fill some of the support and logistical roles once performed by the military in those two instances. Eventually, however, the contractor presence will also decrease as we move our support off large-scale from large-scale off-budget spending to more direct on-budget aid to the Afghan government directly. And this is why, again, our reconstruction strategy must focus now more than ever on ensuring that Afghans are prepared to sustain what we have helped to build. This means we must consider not only, for example, how many additional schools and health clinics we construct, but also whether Afghanistan will have teachers and medical professionals to sustain those institutions. It means we've got to consider not only the potential megawatt output of a new power plant, but whether Afghans have the resources and expertise to manage the long-term operation and maintenance of those power plants. On a related note, as we encourage more contracting with local Afghan firms under the Afghan First policy, we must consider seriously revamping the process for vetting contractors to ensure that they do not pose security risks. Reconstruction is a critical component of our counterinsurgency strategy, and reconstruction dollars must never be diverted to support terrorists or insurgent elements. And that's one of the concerns that I have as we go through this Afghan First policy. We should have no illusions that Afghanistan will immediately be prepared to stand alone, unsupported by friends and allies. When the large-scale U.S. military mission does conclude, According to a World Bank estimate, as much as 97% of Afghanistan's GDP is currently derived from spending related to international military and donor community presence. Think about that, 97% of their GDP. That reliance will not simply disappear with the drawdown of troops. But our reconstruction efforts must be directed toward empowering Afghans to regain responsibility and control over their own future. So we have plenty of challenges, and I look forward to the hearing today and specifically the discussion, Madam Chair, about reconstruction contracts, lessons we have learned, and some ongoing problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Portman.